Welcome to our admissions podcast, A Pathway to Princethorpe, a podcast series designed to assist parents just like you in the exciting journey of applying to Princethorpe College. Throughout this series, we'll delve into the admissions process, explore everything from understanding our school's ethos to practical tips for preparing your child for our entrance exams and beyond.
Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of admissions, let us take a step back and introduce you to Princethorpe College. Founded on a rich history and a commitment to academic excellence, Princethorpe is more than just a school. It's a community dedicated to nurturing the potential of every student who walks through its doors.
Throughout this series, we will be your guides, providing insight, answering your questions, and shedding light on what sets Princethorpe apart. So whether you're a first-time parent navigating the independent school's admissions process, or considering a change for your child's education, you've come to the right place.
So, sit back, relax, and join us as we embark on this journey. Let's navigate the admissions pathway to Princethorpe together. Hello, and welcome back to episode 6 of our podcast, A Pathway to Princethorpe. Today we're going to be looking at school life, everything from a typical school day to tutor groups and the house system, how catering works, and then all the co-curricular activities on offer as well. As mentioned in previous episodes, choosing the right school for your child is a really important task, and hopefully today we'll be able to give you a bit more of an overview and an insight into what Princethorpe College is actually like and all the things that actually make up our school life here. So let's get into it. Catherine, what does an actual typical day at school look like?
Typical day at Princethorpe starts around about 8:35. If children are coming in on school buses, they usually get here by about 8:30, and the children go straight into period 1. They're registered in period 1. There isn't a registration at the beginning of school or anything like that. Straight into period 1. We have period 1 and period 2. Then the children go to their tutor time, where they meet their vertical tutor family. So these are a mixture of ages of children who are all in the same house as them.
So you'd have 7 to 11 and you'd then have 6 separate sixth form.
That's right. So the house tutor groups, there's a few year 7s, few year 8s, few year 9s and so on up to year 11. And then the sixth form have their own separate upper and lower 6 tutor groups. Once they've had their tutor time, then we have break where they're able to play outside or go and meet with their friends. And after that, there are 2 more periods, 3 and 4, and then lunchtime. And then periods 5 and 6 bring us to the end of the day. Each period is about 50 minutes, so all in all 6 periods a day plus their tutor time, and school finishes at 3:45 with the buses leaving school at about 4 o'clock.
You just mentioned about vertical tutoring. In terms of vertical tutoring and then being in houses, how does that house system look? You know, do they have year heads or do they have house heads?
So house system at Princethorpe is a big deal.
A very big deal.
A very big deal. So we know that some schools sort of have a house system, but perhaps, it's not used in a huge way or matter that much. It really matters here. So there's 4 different houses. There's Austin, which is the green one. Bennett is the red one. Fisher is the blue one. And Moore is the yellow one. And Georgia and I are both in Moore House. It's the best house. And it just so happens that Georgia's mum happens to also be head of Moore House.
She is, but I was here first. That's important to mention as well. Families are, where possible, nearly always put in the same house. So even if you had perhaps dad or uncle that came here when it was still a boys' school back in the 60s or granddad, then they will try and put you in the same house.
That's right. So if you have a family member who was at Princethorpe at any point in its history, please do let us know that on your application form. Even if they can't remember the name of the house that they were in, if they can remember it was the red one, things haven't changed. So
or names, we can probably look them up.
We do have a big database of previous pupils, so we'll do our best to find out and put any sons, daughters or brothers, sisters in the same. Yeah, any family link at all.
Relation.
We would try and match that up. Obviously, there are a sibling here already as a current pupil. They just go straight into the same house. So once the children have accepted places at the college, whether that's into year 7 or into older year groups, we will look to see, first of all, if there's any sort of family link, and then we work out that that's the house they're going to go into. If there isn't a previous family link, then they are fairly randomly allocated where there is a sort of need for spaces to be filled across the house system of the current school body. We try and make sure that there's a balance of boys and girls, a spread of ages, making sure that children coming who are the only sort of singleton coming from their particular primary school, they are mixed in well with the children coming from where there might be a bit of a larger group coming from a particular primary school. So we work really hard to make sure that these groups are all mixed in. It might be that you find once you find out what your child's house allocation is, that they're not in the same tutor group as their best friend from primary school or even in the same house. I think we can really underline that this really doesn't matter. They're only with their house tutor for 25 minutes a day. So there's lots of other social time when they can see their old friends from their primary school. And it's really good to make new friends and find a wide variety of people that you know around the school. And we feel this is a real benefit of the vertical tutor system.
Yes, and children are split up into houses, so they might not be in the same house as their best friend or the same tutor group, but there's also math sets that they go in straight away from year 7, and then they have their teaching set. So we feel that by having vertical tutoring to go up, upwards, as well as having horizontal teaching sets, then you kind of get a wide range of combinations of children, and they have
it's a real sort of support network.
As much contact with different people as possible.
So we think that having a tutor group with some year 7s, some year 8s, some year 9s and so on, and then spending the majority of their day with their teaching set, so that would be the children that they're doing history and geography and maths and English with, means that they see a wide variety of pupils throughout the day. So they get to know their year group by going to their different teaching subject lessons with them. And then that sort of 25 minutes of tutor time where they spend with their house tutor group. So all members of the same house of different age groups. It's a bit like a little Princethorpe family. So you might have, older brothers and younger sisters, and the older ones get to learn some leadership skills by looking after the little ones, and the little ones get to know about Princethorpe life, and they get to see what the other older children are doing and learn from them. And as they go through the school, they stay in the same tutor group, so that by the time they move through year 8, 9, 10, there are younger ones coming in underneath, and then they end up as the older ones in the tutor group. So it's really nice when you see children going around school, they know each other, the little ones are high-fiving the older ones because they are members of the same tutor group, and they're all shouting for the same team. And
it feels like it just pulls the whole school together in a way, the fact that children have got opportunities to meet people from different years as well. It makes it feel more cohesive in a way.
Definitely. Nice. We think we've said in a previous episode about why Princethorpe feels like a really special community, and we've said it's the spirit of family, and I think this vertical tutor system really underpins that spirit of family, that children feel that there are lots of children in the school in different age groups that they know, and so if they had any problems or any questions that they wanted to ask, it's a real safety net of other pupils in the school that they can turn to for advice or help.
And having been in tutor groups, both when it was horizontal tutoring, so when I first started, and then later on when I was a bit older, it moved to the vertical tutoring. And I have to say, I think people were a bit apprehensive, but the vertical tutoring went down so well, and it's just been such a brilliant addition to the school.
Yes, it was something I hadn't come across when I came to work here 7 years ago. I was used to a sort of more horizontal system, and just thought it was a bit odd to start with, but once I got used to the idea, then it's absolutely brilliant. It works so well. Each of the tutor groups will have their house tutor, so that will be the teacher that they see every day in their tutor time. And the sort of things they do in their tutor time are sort of the kind of PSHE subjects. They might talk about different topics that are current at the time. During exam season, they might talk about revision help and tips, things like that. Every Friday, they have a house quiz about things that have been going on in the news that week, and you can win house points. You can literally win house points for everything. I've seen all sorts of house competitions.
Merits go towards house points. So if they're getting merits in academic subjects, that goes towards it.
And just like Harry Potter, at the end of the Lent term, so around about Easter, then the house cup is awarded to the house that's got the most house points for that year. But the house competitions can include things like I've seen house Mario Kart, house Bake Off,
house
Christmas tree decorating.
That's the sixth form one. That's really popular.
Welly wanging.
Oh, for Mary's Meals. Yep. Yes. World Porridge Day. We do House Languages Day, so they can come and speak a language and they get house points. And then you've got your big ones like House Activities Day, which is when everyone's off timetable and they compete in houses and there's a theme, and things like Sports Day and the House Talent Show.
So lots of opportunities to sort of represent your house, shouting for your house and taking the glory when your house lifts the house cup.
Bit of friendly competition is always good.
It does get a little bit heated, but all in a good, friendly way. And there are prefects allocated to the house that will organise activities.
And they really lead the house. And then you have your house activities leaders, so a member of staff that heads up the activities side of the house. They do work alongside your head of house, which is more your pastoral side of things, but it kind of, again, it gives that overview of leadership and a bit of structure, and so children know where to go to and who to ask for help from.
That's right. So your house is say like your Princethorpe family. So you have lots of people that you can talk to. You can talk to the other pupils in your house tutor group. You can talk to your house tutor that you see every day. You can go to your head of house. They, as Georgia said, looks after your sort of pastoral side, anything you need to ask. Those, as a parent, if you had any concerns when your child starts here, those are the people that you would go to ask for any advice, would be the house tutor or the head of the house. So if you're wondering when you will find out what house your child is going into, that comes on induction day, which is usually the last Wednesday in June, where all the new children, whatever age of year 7 to 10, are coming. They come into school for the day, have some lessons to go to, meet their tutor group, meet their house tutor, and just get a real good experience of what it's like when they come in September.
Fantastic. And in terms of catering, lunches are not compulsory at the school. So they've got the opportunity to buy food, haven't they? But they can also bring their own.
Absolutely. So there's all sorts of different options. Our fantastic catering is provided by a company called Holroyd Howe, although it is all cooked at school. They are able to use the school refectory or dining room. So year 7 to 11 share that school dining room, and the sixth form have their own sixth form centre where they get their own meals. Children can have school lunches every single day. They can have a hot lunch and a pudding, or a sort of takeaway type food, or salad, or a baguette, sandwiches. There's fruit on offer, so puddings, legendary Princethorpe cookie raising its head again.
Keep talking about this.
Always on offer. I did ask our catering manager once how many cookies we get through in a day. Apparently it's about 500 to 600 cookies a day. So we don't just crack them out for special occasions. They are on offer.
Very much part of life.
Every lunchtime. So we also have a tuck shop. So at break time after school, children can go to our tuck shop and get sort of snacks and drinks as well. If they don't want to use the main refectory at lunchtime, it's on offer then as well. So catering, as Georgia said, is not compulsory. Children can have a school lunch every day if they want to, or they can bring in a packed lunch from home. There's no need to bring any money into school. We have a cashless catering system. So the children pay for their food on a thumbprint system, so that the family at home would put some money on an online account, and you will be able to see what the children are buying.
Which can be quite useful from time to time.
Absolutely. So if they're having 5 cookies for lunch or 6 sausage rolls, and you know exactly what it is they're buying, and if you're suddenly having to top up every day onto their account, you might want to perhaps be having a little word about spending limits. But a general sort of rule of thumb from our catering team is that if somebody's having a snack and a drink at break time, and then a full hot lunch and a pudding, comes to a total of around about £6.50 a day.
But there's quite a variety of prices. So if you're having a sandwich, obviously that would be a lot cheaper.
Definitely. So yeah, sandwich and a fruit pot is a couple of pounds. And say hot meal, just a little bit more, probably about £3. But there are drinks available. Obviously there's water fountains around school, so people can top up their own water bottles. That's very much encouraged, yes, yeah. Rather than single-use plastics. We try and get away from that. But definitely won't be coming home from school hungry. There's lots of opportunities for some really great catering, food, snacks, drinks, everything you might need.
And it's not just in the school day that catering is on offer either. So the first thing that we have at 7:30, our breakfast club opens. So for parents that want to drop their children in perhaps on the way to work, maybe you've got a sibling that you need to get somewhere else and you don't want to use the school bus system, then you can drop them in from 7:30 and they go to the sixth form centre, and there's food on offer, some breakfast items, tea, warm drinks, and then they have, I believe they have newspapers, the TV on. It's a chance for them to socialise. I know that staff go down sometimes, so actually it's quite a nice social, relaxed start to the day, and that goes on till about 8:15 when they can then start to wander about the school. So if they are in school before 8:15, they are directed to the sixth form centre just because it's a bit more supervised and a bit more safe, and then about 8:15 people start coming in more earnest and they can wander about the school and head towards their lessons.
So really good for parents, as Georgia said, dropping off on the way to work. It means you can leave home without having to bother with getting breakfast, that children will have had a really good variety of breakfast items and will be starting their day with a full tummy and ready to learn.
And then after school as well, the tuck shop is open again. So from, again, 3:45 to about 4 o'clock, tuck shop's open. So if children are staying for after school activities, then they can go and get some food, especially if they're doing sport or something and they need something else to eat. We know that children eat a lot and they're growing, so that's always a really good option. And then again, there is catering and what we call prep as well. So prep is essentially a homework club where children can go. They are supervised by one of our lovely teaching assistants and one of the teachers, and they can sit. There's a bit of socialisation time till about 20 past 4. So they can see their friends, they can have a catch up. Often you'll find that some children go into prep every single night. So they do really get to know other people in different years and make really good friends. And again, there's some catering available in there.
Did you have to book in advance to go to prep, or can you just turn up?
No, so you can just turn up. There's no booking system. Children are expected to sign in. Obviously, as a school, our number one priority is keeping children safe and know where they are. So it's really important that they sign in. And then parents have to come in and they have to sign them out as well, just so that we know who's in and out of the building. Children can come straight away from when their lessons finish at 3:45. They can come after perhaps they've been to see a teacher about some homework. They can then perhaps go and do a sports club and then head to prep. So there's different options, and that finishes at 6. So until 6 o'clock, there's no charge for that. And there's no charge for the breakfast club either, other than the food that they buy. So that's a really good option. Again, if you perhaps want to pick your child up after school, there's an option where you don't have to pop them on the bus and you can still come and collect them.
So really, from a full day point of view, somebody could be with us from 7:30 breakfast club all the way through to 6 o'clock, and they're fully supervised, fully fed. And when they come home, their time is their own because they've done their homework and ready to perhaps do some extracurricular activities at home, or just spend time with their family and just generally chilling out because they've finished their homework at school.
Yeah, that's right. And like I said, there is socialisation time when you first get to prep, but after that, it's very much heads down. If children finish their work, there's always other activities for them to do. There's some colouring for the little ones, or big ones as well. I some colouring. Or there's some Sudokus, some word searches, there's reading books. So we do try and keep them entertained, and we do like to keep them in that academic mindset till their parents come and collect them, or until 6 o'clock when they go.
So they can't come and pick up earlier than 6 o'clock?
You can come and pick up any time from 4 o'clock. So even if they're only in there for 5 minutes, we'd always rather them be in there for 5 minutes and you come and collect them than them just sitting on the playground and us not knowing where they are.
So if you were stuck in traffic or had a late minute meeting or something like that, then you could let your child know to, please can you go to prep this evening? And then they could just go, be safe, be looked after, be fed, and you have the peace of mind of knowing that they are, not knowing who's going to pick them up and when.
Exactly. And again, I used to do prep when I was a teaching assistant, and you'd always have children that would come in and go, oh, my phone's lost charge, like I don't know what's happening, my club's been cancelled. And again, there's a teacher and a teaching assistant, so the child can always contact you. We can always get your number and find out what's happening. So it's at least a safe space where children can go and know that there's someone there that can help them.
That's right. Not having to book in advance makes it a really flexible option.
Yes, exactly. So that's kind of what the overall school day looks like, where you could potentially be arriving at 7:30 and leaving at 6. But obviously, perhaps not the only co-curricular on option after school. There's plenty of other things.
That's right. So we've got lots of co-curricular activities on offer, and we feel that what really sets Princethorpe apart from other schools and why families want to join the college is the range and breadth of different activities that we have available for whatever the child's interest, passion, skills. We have a club that they can join. And that's a great way particularly for new children to bed in, to join school, feel like they might be sort of representing the school, perhaps in a sports team or performing together in an orchestra, all of those sorts of activities. But it's a great way to get to know like-minded friends, because if you're all interested in football and you've joined the football team, then that's a way of getting to know other children who have the same interests that you do. But it's not just limited to sport and music. We have all sorts of different clubs and societies. So whatever your thing, we will find something for you to get interested in. We've got things like beekeeping club, film club, knitting club,
code breaking, forensic club. We also have our normal sports on offer. So we have everything from rugby, hockey, football, netball, tennis. We do an athletics club in the summer. There's plenty of cricket.
We've got a climbing wall. That's always a very popular club, the climbing club. Sometimes a waiting list for that one, but get in quick and you might get into climbing club.
There's a golf club that I believe goes out.
Yep, I think that's quite new this year.
Yeah.
But academic subjects, so maths challenges, so stretch and challenge programme for the different academic subjects, if that's your thing. But
there's a book club.
Definitely.
More Englishy.
Very, very active book club.
And there's also, if you're perhaps struggling slightly more in a subject or it's coming up to exam season and you're thinking that you want a bit more help, often there'll be academic clinics after school as well.
That's right, so drop-in clinics to ask about particular topics that you might be struggling with.
And teachers are always happy to stay behind. If you've got a question or there's a piece of coursework, perhaps for history or English, that you're struggling with and you want a bit more guidance, then teachers would always rather, help you out rather than having you struggle at home. So there's that as well.
And so alongside all the sort of niche subjects, there's things like magic club, card games, there's a jigsaw club in the library.
Yeah. And clubs go on at lunchtimes as well. So we're perhaps focusing a bit more on that after school from 4 till 5:30 range, but there are clubs that go on at lunchtime.
So you could be a super busy bee and do a lunchtime club every day and an after school club every day if there was so much you wanted to cram in.
And children do.
Yeah, they do.
Especially when you arrive, first time in the school and you just want to do everything. You want to get involved with absolutely everything.
It's not compulsory in every way, but I think we would certainly recommend, just as a place to start, perhaps if a child tries to join perhaps 2 clubs, just to, put a toe in the water and just that can build up to other things. But 2 clubs gives them a good breadth of doing something different outside the classroom, because we know that that's what helps to make a sort of rounded individual. And so when they leave school, they've got all of these different experiences of things that they've done at school that just helps to make them more than just doing the academic subjects.
And if there's a club that your child's perhaps, you're looking at coming to Princethorpe and you're thinking, well, my child's really interested in this, but actually I can't see there's a club on offer for this at the moment. There's always opportunities for us to put new clubs on.
Definitely. That happened this last year where a little boy arrived and he wanted a Dungeons and Dragons club and there wasn't one. So he set one up, and now we have a Dungeons and Dragons club.
I think it's really popular.
It is.
So I promise you there will be children where however niche you think their interest is, they will find other people that want to do it.
Lego club, robots club.
All of it.
All sorts. And if it's not there, in the unlikely event that they can't find anything, then you can ask for help to set up a club and find other people that want to do that thing as well.
And we've not actually yet talked about music and performing arts. So we've talked a lot about academic clubs, sports clubs, hobbies and interests, but there's plenty of music on offer as well, isn't there?
That's right. So orchestra, choir. So there is a school musical that's put on every year, and everybody's welcome to either audition for parts to be on the stage, but also there's a need for pupils to help with things like costume, makeup, lighting, sound rigs. So if your child is quite interested in that sort of behind the scenes kind of activity, then that's all student led. And they don't have to be on the stage to get involved with the drama productions.
And they never turn people away. Obviously, the main parts are auditioned for, but if your child wants to be involved, they will welcome you with open arms.
Definitely will find a space.
And it's not just musical theatre, we also have a drama production every year as well. So I think this year coming up is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but we've had things such as Monster Calls before, Arabian Nights. So if they're perhaps drama orientated but less singing and dancing, then there's that option as well. So it's not just in-school co-curricular activities either, is it? There's plenty of trips that also go out of the college. So I think, Catherine, we tried to make a bit of a list before we started this.
It's quite a long list, so we don't just want to read it out because that's quite boring, but just writing it out ourselves has made us realise exactly how what a wide range of places that the visits, from sort of local trips to various places of interest like Warwick Castle or
places of worship.
That's right. So the RS department will take trips out to when they're looking at particular religions in their RS lessons. They might go and visit different places of worship. Pretty much as soon as Year 7 start, they're taken away 2 or 3 weeks into term on a bonding weekend. They currently go to Whitemoor Lakes, which is one of these sort of outward boundy sort of get them climbing high wires and chuck them in the lake sort of event.
Plenty just tie them out the whole weekend. I went as a teaching assistant and it's brilliant. It's so much fun.
And by the time they come back from that, they absolutely nobody cares what primary school they went to. They're all new Princethorpians together. It's a really great way of making friends and having that shared activities. And we often find that when sixth formers leave and we ask them for their sort of favourite memories of their time at the school, quite a lot of them refer back to their Year 7 bonding trip because they really loved it and it was a real highlight. Yeah. But we also have sports tours. We have junior sports tours and senior sports tours. Some of them in this country and some of them abroad. We have a hockey tour to Holland, but the biggie is the senior sports tour to South Africa.
Yes, that's the really big sought after trip that if you're really sporty, lots of people want to go on. They do fundraising so that the children pay a little bit for their own way to go. and for the sports kit and things, but that's really good.
That's right. So they go to South Africa, they obviously play sport while they're out there, but they also have some sightseeing opportunities.
Go on safaris.
And they do some visiting places where they raise money for charity.
They've gone to Malawi. I think they get back this week.
That's right. So yes, this current summer, there's a charity trip to Malawi. There's ski trips. There's trips abroad to places like New York and Washington. They've been to Costa Rica. They've been to Russia on a history trip in the past.
They go on music trips every year. So they went to Germany, I think, this year. They've been to Berlin in the past.
That's right. And subject-related trips like geography field trips. They might be in this country or abroad. There's a history trip to the World War I battlefields. So important for children to get that opportunity to travel. Obviously, teachers go with them. They're supervised. It's a safe, looked-after trip, but they get that opportunity to broaden their horizons, experience other cultures, other cities, other experiences, and a real chance to look back in years to come and think what a great experience that was. And we've talked about, say, subject trips. We have things that are encouraging particular groups of children, like we have a Girls in STEM trip to Jaguar Land Rover. We have days where the sixth form are taken out to visit different universities and find out about the university application process. So it's very much tailored to everybody. There must be some trip that somebody will want to go on.
Yes, I'd agree. And it's the purpose of trips is obviously, like Catherine said, to give the children plenty of memories, plenty of things to look back on. But it's also always a learning opportunity, even if they're going out on a more, what you could call, fun trip. Maybe they're going on a music tour or something. The purpose of it is to learn new things, to try new things, to experience different opportunities, and that goes to the academic trips as well. Yeah,
and language trips where they go and stay with host families and have to use the French and Spanish languages.
And sometimes crossovers as well. So I know there was a history trip that went out that also took DT students to New York and Washington, and they kind of ran in parallel, but it meant that plenty of children got the opportunity to go to the same
right.
place.
So we do appreciate that this might sound like really, really expensive. None of them are compulsory. Where there is a need for a sort of subject-related trip that's associated with the course, like a geography field trip, if there's real hardship, then it is worth getting in touch with the school to see if there is any assistance available with those trips that are absolutely crucial to a course. So please don't worry that this is going to be a massive financial burden. None of them are compulsory, but they are always published very far in advance so that you have plenty of time to see what's coming up, maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, and so that you've got the chance to sort of save birthday and Christmas money or
plan ahead a little bit and have children perhaps pick what they'd rather go on.
Yes, it might be that, during their 7 years here, they might only go on 1 or 2 trips. That's completely normal. And you just choose the ones that are most suitable. Not everybody's going to go on a sports tour. Not everybody's going to go on a orchestra trip.
Yes. Or a physics tour to CERN or anything. So.
But for those who have that interest and would like that opportunity, we can certainly underline that there's lots of opportunities to travel as a pupil at Princethorpe.
And I think that's everything for today's episode. So we talked about lots of different things, from catering, lots on the house system, all about co-curricular. But as ever, if you've got any more questions, the website is always a really good place to start. Have a good look. Have a look in perhaps the news section as well, where you'll be able to see what sorts of things the children have been up to. And as ever, you can always email us at admissions@princethorpe.co.uk.
So we hope you found this useful, that it's given you more of an insight into what life is like for pupils outside of the classroom here at Princethorpe. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you are going to join us again for our next episode.
See you soon.
Thanks very much. Bye.
And that concludes this episode of The Pathway to Princethorpe. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and valuable in helping you navigate the admissions process for your child.
Remember, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like us to cover in future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can email us on admissions@princethorpe.co.uk. Your feedback is essential in shaping this podcast to better serve you, our listeners.
And as always, stay connected with us on our website and social media channels for updates and additional resources. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so that you never miss an episode.
Thank you for joining us. Until next time, take care and best of luck with your admissions process. We look forward to welcoming you to our Princethorpe community soon.